Well, I think that's the reason we go to movies. We want to recognize ourselves in some way, even though, you know, Pixar movies are a large part, like we're about, the characters are cars or monsters or bugs or whatever, but hopefully there's something about those guys' experience that we see reflective of our own life. And that was certainly the case in this film. This film was really started watching my daughter grow up. And she was 11 when we started. And as a little kid, she was like, you know, the way little kids are, goofy, funny, full of energy. And then she turned 11, and then she was a little bit more like, you know, a little more quiet. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, I was really like, oh, no, I don't get to play dolls on the floor anymore. You know, that kind of sucks. I would love to bottle that in some way. And so the film really became kind of a movie told from a parent's point of view. Well, Riley is an 11-year-old. She's moved from the Midwest to San Francisco. And with that, of course, comes new friends, an entire new experience, and a lot of adjustments. And that's why her emotions, who are inside her head, are there, right? They're there to kind of help you navigate through difficulty. Unfortunately, in the case of joy and sadness, they get booted out of headquarters and are lost in the regions of the mind, which makes Riley driven solely by anger, fear, and disgust. Mm-hmm. Which maybe explains a little bit about junior high school age kids, I don't know. Well, I always feel like joy is something we all want, right? We're all after. You go to the bookstore and there's tons of self-help books, finding your inner joy, and finding happiness and all this. And yet life is full of difficulty. There's unexpected disappointment and loss, and that is ultimately why all these emotions that we think of as kind of negative, they're actually helpful. They have a real purpose and a reason for existing. Well, I mean, anger was probably the first guy to kind of show up in the writing and visually. He's a guy I always thought of as kind of a negative thing, like gets you into trouble, like road rage or whatever. Turns out anger is about fairness. And so if you are being taken advantage of, or you see other people being taken advantage of, anger comes up, and it's actually a big motivator in social justice. So what seems like a negative thing actually sparks people to help other people halfway around the world. That's a pretty cool thing. Well, without giving too much away, right. I think Joy basically doesn't understand sadness. At the beginning of the film, she's like, I understand why everybody else exists. I'm not sure really sadness. Why do you want sadness? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, let's get
and I've checked. There's nowhere for her to go. So it's all good, you know, says Joy. In the long run, she's stuck with sadness, and what at first is just awful, like sadness is slow. She won't move faster. She's looking at the negative side all the time. Ultimately, she has some very important lessons to teach to Joy, and she comes to kind of fully understand what this character is all about. Yeah, I think of all the sets we've ever built, outer space, the wide reaches of the ocean, we've never built a bigger one than the mind of an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah.
It's vast, and my hope was in the making of the film, we get to visit a lot of really cool places, but if you look out in the vista, you realize we've only been to like 5% of what's out there. This is a vast, almost limitless space, kind of the way our minds feel. And we started by doing a lot of research and delving into like abstract thoughts and all these different processes that our minds have to comprehend the world and make sense of it. Well, it was the first thing that got us excited about it. You know, as soon as this idea kind of presented itself, it was the thing that drew me into it, that I was like, we are going to have a lot of fun. We get to take people places they'd never seen before. We get to play with things like abstract thought, which really takes advantage of what animation can do that couldn't be really done in any other medium. We get to explain where dreams come from and all this really cool stuff that we've all kind of thought about but never seen before.